Hey guys, what's up? Z here with the Cubot Rainbow 2. It is currently the cheapest 2-camera phone right now, but the other specs are pretty weak. It's only got 1GB of RAM and a MTK 6580 processor. On the plus side, Cubot usually has no problem with their software and hardware. They make pretty good stuff, but let's see if it's worth your money. It's made out of glossy plastic, so it's definitely not my favorite phone. It gets oily and fingerprinty and just plain nasty pretty easily just because of the glossy plastic. It's not that big a phone, but it's definitely not small either for a 5-inch device. There's quite a bit of bezel around the screen. Overall though, it still doesn't look like a bad phone to use though, so it's pretty decent. The screen is 1280 by 720. It's actually pretty decent for how cheap it is. The displays stuff pretty well. It's crisp enough and the colors are pretty lively. Brightness is okay in sunlight, but it is tough sometimes to see in direct sunlight. One important thing about budget phones is touch sensitivity, and it's definitely good here, and there's no issues with that. Do note that there is no Gorilla Glass on this phone, but the strength is pretty much fine. The audio here is average and the volume is average, and can be hard to hear sometimes because this definitely does not have the loudest speakers in the world. Quality here is definitely below average, but it is usable for YouTube and music as well.
What would you do for a donut?
Kill a man.
Adam, Andrew, y'all ready for season 2? Yeah. Let's do it. We're gonna open up this season with a bang.
The battery here is average as well, with a 2380 mAh battery that is not that big, but surprisingly you can get up to 3 to 4 hours of screen on time. This consists mostly of using the web, SMS, and pictures, YouTube as well. Definitely not enough for fanatics like me, but light and medium users should be okay for a single day. Heavy users will definitely not be fine with this battery here. The MTK 6580 is definitely weak for entry-level processor, so don't expect too much from this processor. For tech enthusiasts like you and me, it's pretty much barely unusable compared to flagships. It's pretty slow to launch apps, multitasking is next to impossible. It's not that great an experience, but think about it from another angle. For a normal dude or a dudette, it's not that fast, but it's also not incredibly slow either. It will work for basic use, but do note that you pretty much can't do anything intense on this phone. You can play basic games on here. Even Clash does slow down a little bit sometimes, but stuff like 2048 is fine. It does get 2G and 3G reception, but not LTE. Reception is average. It gets reception pretty much everywhere, but it's not that great. The rest of the stuff works averagely. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and GPS. There's nothing special about them, but they all do work as intended. We have a dual camera setup here on the back, so let's explore that first. The photos are okay quality. If you don't zoom in, pics actually look pretty decent. It's relatively sharp and accurate in color, but any zoom and you do start seeing some grain in the photos. If you think about low-light photography, there will be quite a bit of grain regardless of whether or not you zoom into your photos because of how bad the cameras are. Do note that with the second camera, you can adjust the amount of bokeh that gets into the shot, and this actually definitely works. However, pictures in normal mode actually look better than pictures taken in dual camera mode, which can be a problem. The front-facing camera is pretty bad. Even in good lighting quality, the picture quality is pretty low. For video, you can take up to 1080p video and the quality is okay, but do know that the colors can be a little bit washed out. So to conclude this review, Cubot really sacrificed too much to put in 2 cameras into such a cheap phone, and as such they have lowered the specifications. It's really difficult to have a good experience with just 1GB of RAM and the MTK 6580 versus pretty much what I consider to be the bare minimum, which is 2GB and a 6737, and in that the experience is so much better. However, do note that this phone could be a good choice for a family member who is not tech savvy. Even then, maybe check out the Cubot Rainbow 1 if you want to save some money, because that dual camera setup really isn't worth it. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.